Hey everyone, welcome back to I Know a Guy. I'm Anthony, and this is the podcast where connections thrive. Each episode, we spotlight inspiring entrepreneurs, professionals, and individuals doing amazing things. Together, we'll grow your circle, spark collaborations, and discover new opportunities. Today, we're meeting Maria Medina, a certified business coach and founder of the Coaching Network, who empowers professionals and entrepreneurs with strategic guidance and communication, time management, and business growth. With over 15 years of global experience and a successful entrepreneurial track record, Maria helps clients unlock their full potential and achieve lasting success. How are you doing today, Maria?
Doing great. Thank you so much for having me here today.
No, I was excited to have you on. I really enjoyed our last conversation. There's a lot of people out there that would benefit from getting to know you, so couldn't be more excited to have you here. But to start off, where are you located? Where are you calling in from?
Right now, I'm based out of Orange County, California.
Okay, awesome. Are you originally from the area, or are you newer to it?
I'm newer to it. We've been here almost a year. My wife and I relocated here from Florida, but before that, we were in the United Kingdom. That's where she's from.
Okay, awesome. Well, over a year, you have your haunts. If you have people coming in that have never visited before, where are you going? What are you doing? And what's for dinner?
There is seriously so much to do here, especially if you like different things. So if you want the beach, there's so many beaches. If you like the city, you can drive to LA, you can drive to San Diego. Orange County has a bunch of different cities that you can visit and walk around. And then if you like the mountains, skiing, hiking, and desert, there's everything here.
Okay, awesome. Well, what about food? What's your go-to with guests coming in? Are you more of a go out and get something in particular? Are you a home cook, or what's that look like?
I love cooking. So I always try, if we do have guests coming in, especially if it's family, cooking together. So having everybody in the kitchen, making meals, and then just hanging out at home with delicious food, and then potentially going out for a walk and checking out just maybe some drinks or dessert outside.
Okay. When you're talking home cooking, what's your go-to? Like, if you just somebody's coming into town, this is what you're going to be cooking typically.
So I really like making shepherd's pie. I love making shepherd's pie or a good beef stew, something homely and warm.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, no, that sounds awesome. A nice home cooked, stick to your ribs meal. So I like that. So awesome. Well, what can you tell us about what you do?
To tell you a little bit about what I do, let me tell you a little bit about what I have done, which is I used to own a business in Florida and I was growing it. And as I grew it, I had people approach me and ask me, "Hey, how are you achieving this much success? I see that you're not overly stressed out and overworked. You're still going to Disneyland, taking time off with your wife." And so I decided to develop some workshops, and that's how I got started in the coaching area by just teaching people at a larger scale. So maybe like anywhere from 20 to 50 people in the room at a time. And I taught on different topics. I taught on networking, time management, how to achieve your goals, how to brand yourself. And eventually people said, "Well, now you've taught me. Can you teach me one on one?" And I decided to get certified as a business coach. And now I work with people one on one, whether they're professionals or entrepreneurs, to help them achieve their goals.
Okay, awesome. Well, you mentioned a little bit about how you got started, but what was it about coaching that you're like, you know what, that's, obviously you were helping people already, but what was it that you're like, this is the path? Did you have a mentor guide you into it? Was it just a happy accident that maybe you saw a YouTube video? Oh, that's what I've been doing. I can make the business out of this. How'd that work out?
I think it was a couple of things that resulted in that decision. So the first was people coming to me for advice. They said, "We see your success. Is it replicable? Can we do it with our business?" So that was one of the first triggers. The second was when I was having conversations, a lot of the time I would ask questions and they would say, "Oh, I hadn't thought of it that way. I hadn't even, analyzed it if I did it a different way, or I haven't even thought about that part." Like, we don't know what we don't know. So that curiosity and really engaging in conversation with people and seeing their spark, and then they go and do it and they're successful at it. Or maybe they go and do it and it's really bad and they come back and it's like, "Hey, that didn't work out, but then I found out this other thing." And that excitement and motivation from the conversations I was having with people, it motivated me too, because I was learning from everybody that I was talking to.
Mhm. Yeah, no, I love that. What is it that you love most about what you're doing now?
I think it's the relatability where, as much as I'm growing my own business and I'm running my own business, and yes, I had another business before that I ran and I sold, it's we're all in this together. And if you succeed and my clients succeed and the community around us succeeds, then we all will together. So it's seeing everybody grow, everybody learn, everybody try to help each other, and just building that business community.
Okay. What about your average client? What does that look like? What is the pain points that somebody's going through that if they're dealing with X, Y, or Z, you're the person they should be talking to?
A lot of my clients first come in, I would say, time management wise. And when I say that, it's time management wise for different reasons. So I have a bit of a niche where it comes to networking, because that is how I grew my first business and that's how I made it successful. But when people think about networking, they just think about growing sales or making sales. They don't realize the bigger aspects of networking. And it's funny because after I met you and I signed up for your newsletter, somebody came across my inbox that does virtual assistants, Sophie, and I reached out to her and I said, "Hey, you could be a potential great resource for my clients." So this wasn't a, "Hey, I want to sell your client." It's this is a great resource for my clients, and people forget about that aspect, and they're always trying to, grab the low hanging fruit and go for the sales. And it's like, let's build these relationships and let's build our network so that our time is spent more efficiently.
Absolutely. No, and that's the core of actual networking. It's kind of gone off track for a lot of people in their minds where they think networking is joining a group and saying referrals please. Well, that's not how it works. Right? It's never been how it works. Look back to like old timey town squares, right? If somebody walked into your shop and let's say you're a baker, I don't know, whatever it is, and somebody's like, hey, I need help with a loan, guess what, my banker's right across the square, his name's Scott, go talk to him. Right? That's networking. That's how it's supposed to work. So that's awesome. I love that. What about power partners? Like you said, you talk to a lot of people while you're networking. But in general, what's like the avatar of like a good power partner for you? Certain industries or professionals that you might synergize or collaborate well with.
I work very well with people that are already talking to small business owners and professionals, in particular, either about their stress level or their money. So, if they're talking to them about certain things like those, as well as if they're experiencing the business from a different perspective. So, let me give you an example. You wouldn't think a commercial insurance person would be a great referral source for a coach. But if you look at it, they will know a lot about the habits of the employer with employees. Are they having a lot of people leave? Do they have a lot of issues with their employees? Do they have too many people or not enough people running the business? So they're seeing these trends as they're developing the relationship through an insurance perspective with their client. And if they see these issues, they could say, "Hey, I think you could really benefit from just speaking to this coach I know that'll help you keep your people for longer, reduce your insurance, and help you have better systems in place." So, people that are already dealing with small businesses or corporations that are seeing trends are great referral partners for me.
Awesome. What advice would you give to a new or aspiring entrepreneur?
I would say be prepared, and this is the advice that got given to me when I first started entrepreneurship, is be prepared to make one mistake a day, especially in your first year of business, because you don't know what you don't know. You're going to learn. You're making decisions based on the information you have then and there. And tomorrow is a different day with different experiences. So if you're prepared to make that mistake and learn from it and not let it stop you, I often find myself saying, "Well, that was my mistake for the day. All right, we can carry on."
No, that's a fantastic mentality, and a lot of more people need to have that. Where it's okay, I'm terrified that I'm going to make this mistake or I'm going to have a failure at some point. It's like, well, you're never going to grow. Right? You
Yeah.
need that, and that's with everything, and that's what I love about coaches is they're the shortcut to get around those mistakes that everybody's going to face. You're going to pay for it one way or another. You're either going to have a coach help you through it, or you're going to fall on your face, and there's going to be missed opportunities. There's going to be delays, all this stuff. It's inevitable. You're going to have to pay for that. So that's why I like folks like yourself that are able to help people bypass that and a little bit more comfortable. So if you are terrified, talk to somebody, find a mentor, find a coach that's able to guide you through those. You're always going to make mistakes no matter what, but you can alleviate a lot of that. So awesome. How can business coaching help entrepreneurs overcome growth plateaus?
One of the main issues with a plateau is that we're getting into growth, especially like a lot of the time we see severe growth because maybe we start from zero or we start implementing new strategies that achieve that growth. But the moment that we're achieving that growth and we get to that comfort level, what usually happens is we reduce our strategies and we're stuck more working on the day to day of running that business. So we're stuck on helping our existing clients, managing our team, and we forget about the growth strategy. So usually what a business will see is they'll go up, they'll have growth, they'll reach a plateau, and then all of a sudden within that plateau, you see a little bit of a wiggle roller coaster line, which is, I'm really busy, so I'm not out marketing and networking, and then I'm really slow, so I'm out marketing and networking a lot. I'm really busy. So you see all of that, and it's that consistency and that clarity when you have strategies and you have somebody to check in with and say, okay, what are we doing to achieve this growth? What activities are we doing? Do we need to hire? Do we need to implement systems? Do we need to bring in software vendors, suppliers? What does that look like so that we can implement a growth strategy? Because that's what usually happens, and we haven't thought about the things that we're not doing. We often think about the things that we have done or we have experienced, but our experiences are limited, and we need that outside perspective to say, hey, have you tried this? Looking at your industry and these trends coming up, we should look and foresee what's coming, and essentially a SWOT analysis. What are our strengths? What are our weaknesses? What are our opportunities? What are our threats? And doing that on a regular basis with somebody that asks those questions that trigger that thought process. And we're like, oh, I hadn't thought of it that way.
What would you say is the biggest time management mistake professionals make, and how can they fix it?
I just had a conversation, maybe it was like 2 weeks ago, and somebody gave me a quote. And let me pull it up because I had it here. And it said, don't prioritize your schedule, schedule your priorities. So a lot of us are mandated by our calendar and our schedule, and we prioritize that. And so we fit everything else in between our meetings and between the things that we have to do, and we forget, why are we doing all these activities? So the best thing that you can do is sit down and say, why am I having this meeting? Why am I on I know a guy? Why am I having these conversations with these individuals? Why am I meeting this virtual assistant? So what are these activities that I'm doing? What's the overall goal? And when you do that, you have priorities in place. And the thing that that allows you to do, that a lot of people struggle with, is to say no to a lot of things. Because we often try and people please and we say yes too much without thinking, what is this going to accomplish for my overall strategy, for my overall goal?
How can effective communication skills lead to faster business success?
I think that also stems as well from what I just mentioned about being able to say no and being able to be clear about what your goals and your strategies are. So, if you are clear with the people that you are communicating with about what you want and what you're trying to achieve, it's easier to find a better fit. And often I have my clients really listen out for pauses in conversation and look at body language when they're able to. Because if you're having a conversation, so for example, let's say I have a client and they are looking to hire a new accountant, and what they're trying to achieve by hiring this new accountant is certain goals. If they have that very clearly when they have the conversation with the accountant, if they hence hesitation, or maybe they see enthusiasm and they see that the accountant is like, yes, this is a perfect fit for me, it's more likely to be beneficial for the business owner because they're finding the right fit. So if you're clear about what you want and you understand what you're trying to achieve and you can communicate that clearly, then the relationship's more likely to succeed and have less misunderstandings in the future. As well as if there are misunderstandings or errors in the future, it's easier to bring them up with somebody that you can communicate with easily.
Absolutely. No, that's fantastic. Um, why you? What sets you apart from everybody else out there doing something similar?
So it's funny you say that because the third reason why I started my business was because when I had my other business, I hired coaches and I saw a little bit of a gap. I saw the first gap that I saw was there weren't a lot of coaches out there that had owned a business and ran their own business. A lot of these coaches came from a corporate world. And when I said certain things or I tried different things, they couldn't see it as an entrepreneur, and I did that. I owned my own business for 10 years. So I bring that perspective in. I also have the corporate training because before that, I used to be in data analysis and statistics. So I have both and I bring both worlds. And the second bit was a lot of them didn't have networking strategies. They had marketing and then maybe networking was right under it. But when it came to the nitty gritty of how do I find the right group? How do I meet the right people? How do I follow up effectively? How do I build relationships? There wasn't that person out there that I could go to. So I was like, I need to bring it into a coaching practice. And that's the name of the practice, the coaching network. It's all about building those networks.
Awesome. Can I ask you really fast with your background, the control alt delete?
Yeah, so because I used to be in data analysis and statistics, my wife found these for me. And they say, control yourself, alter your thinking, delete negativity. So they stem from my data background now all the way to my coaching.
Okay, I was thinking I need one that's alt F4, but anyway, um, let's just get out of here. No, that's awesome. I really like that. I know when it comes to coaching and your niche and everything there's all the rabbit holes that we could go down for hours. But just in general, is there anything that I missed or I failed to ask that you wanted to add?
I feel like a lot of the time people say, hey, what's a good partner for you or what's a good client for you? And one of the things that I also like to say is I really love meeting people with unique niches. So if you have like a really specific niche, this is what I do, hardly anybody does that. I'm a specialist in this. I would love to meet you because that makes referring to you so much easier.
That's true. It's really hard to refer, and a lot of people don't get it. It's really hard to refer to somebody when it's like, well, who can I introduce you to? And like, well, anybody. I know a lot of people. You want me to CC everybody? I don't understand, right? But if you say, I really want to talk to this individual in this industry with this, and you're like, oh, I know that person, I can introduce you to that person. But that's just kind of maturity in business and getting better at networking, having an ask. So awesome. Fantastic. Well, for those out there that have that niche, that want to have that conversation, how do they get a hold of you? Where can they find you?
They can reach me on Instagram if they want to DM me, Maria Medina Coach, or they can find me on LinkedIn, Maria Medina Coach. Again, I try to stay consistent. Or if they'd like to email me, it's just info@thecoachingnetwork.com.
Perfect. And I'm going to put all that in the show notes so it's super easy to find. If anybody'd like to get a hold of Maria, do it. Right? You're going to walk away. You're going to be better off than if you didn't. So I definitely advise you to have a conversation. She's the exact same here as she is in a one-to-one. So don't be shy or intimidated. You're going to walk away with a smile for sure. So otherwise, if somebody'd like to get a hold of me, you can find me at ikag.me. You can find more episodes, subscribe to our newsletter, and connect with our growing community of awesome people like Maria. If you or somebody you know would like to be interviewed, you can also apply on the website. But thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate you sharing your experience and everything that you're doing. You're helping a lot of people. And there's so many people out there that need to know you. And so I was super excited. So let's all go. Let's have an awesome day and grow our circles. All right.